have?
I have 9:03.
Okay, I did too, but then this computer is saying 8:57, so I'm not sure. Okay, so I believe we do have a quorum, right at a quorum, right? Wonderful, but that's what we need. Okay, so good morning, everyone. Thank you so very much for your time. We are going to begin the September 24th meeting of TDA, and I remind everyone of our mission, which is to promote overnight visitation that drives economic impact through destination marketing and enhancement of the visitor experience in Elizabeth City and Pasquotank County. Our meeting is officially called to order. You all have received the information for this meeting. So at this time, I will call for a motion to approve the agenda.
One quick question on that. Are we reviewing the crisis plan or voting on that? I didn't see that on the agenda specifically.
It's under item 10, new business.
Okay, there it is, of course. Okay.
So yes,
With that,
we would.
for the agenda.
This is Rhonda. I second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second for the approval of the agenda. We'll now conduct the roll call vote.
Gwen?
Approved.
Arthur?
Approved.
Johnny?
Approve.
And Dean and Rhonda made the motion in second. Thank you.
Correct. Okay, wonderful. Thank you. Any public comment?
No, there was none.
Okay, thank you so very much. We'll now move to the minutes of our last meeting, August 27th. I hope that you have all had an opportunity to review that document. And so I will now call for a motion for the approval of the minutes of the August 27th, 2020 meeting.
I make a motion to approve. Dean?
Is that Dean?
Dean, yes.
Thank you.
Is there a second?
This is Arthur. I'll second.
Okay. We have a motion and a second for the approval of the August 27th, 2020 minutes. Any questions or concerns? Hearing none, we will conduct a roll call vote for those minutes.
Gwen?
Approved.
Arthur made motion. Johnny?
Yes.
Dean made motion, and Rhonda?
Approved.
Thank you.
Wonderful. The minutes stand approved. We'll now move on to the finance report, the August finance statement. I'll turn now to Arthur.
Yes, ma'am. You all got sent out the August financial statement. We did not meet as a committee, but I'll just make a couple of comments and answer any questions. As you can see, we basically, those are our revenues for the month of July that we're looking at. As usual, I'll remind everybody we're always a month behind. And so that does just represent 1 month worth of revenues. And we were only down about 12% from last year, which was, I thought, really good given the environment. I was going to ask Sherry, and I just saw that she clicked in. Obviously, we can't comment on anybody specifically, but can you tell us if we got a higher percentage or more money out of Airbnb? Because it just in looking at my STAR report, which is just the hotel industry, it appeared that the hotel industry was down more like 15–16%. And so I'm guessing just from talking around town that we've got more inventory on the market going through Airbnb. And I just was wondering if you could tell anything from their contribution.
Well, Karina has asked me to do that analysis, but unfortunately, I have this little thing called the financial statement that I've been working on, and auditor's coming in on the 28th, which is Monday. And so that's taking my priority, not TDA, I'm sorry.
Oh, no, no worries, no worries. I do think that we will see that. I think that in this current environment, there are especially extended stay type workers are looking for that. And so it's good that we've got more of that being offered in our market. And so, you know, hopefully that will, you know, we want everybody to be healthy, including the hotels, obviously. But anyway, I thought that was interesting. Really,
Arthur, one comment on that is, as far as having some Airbnb units, we have certainly picked back up as far as occupancy in our unit. We do have some traveling nurses who are taking advantage of some longer term stays. So they're typically in for anywhere from 30 days to 3 months or equivalent. We've had some traveling physical therapists that have also resided for a period of about 6 months. So our drawback is their Airbnb does have some guidelines on cleaning and the amount of time the units are empty between stays. So that decreases, you know, our availability a little bit. But just overall speaking, you know, from our units, they have definitely picked back up. We've seen them pick back up, and overall pleased with how they've been turning out.
that's great. That's the same thing. I have a couple of friends that have units, and they're seeing a lot of the same thing. So again, that's positive for us. It helps to have all different types of inventory available to the travelers. The rest of the report was pretty unremarkable. City and county are yet to spend any money, and basically all of the expenses are right. You know, again, we're just getting started on a new year. So again, the committee did not meet, but I will make a motion myself to approve the August financial statement as presented.
Okay, thank you, Arthur. Is there a second?
I second D.
Okay, thank you. We have a motion and a second for the approval of the August finance statement. Any additional questions or concerns? Hearing none, we will move to the roll call vote.
Gwen,
Approved.
Arthur made motion, Johnny,
Yes.
Dean seconded, and Rhonda.
Approve.
Thank you.
Wonderful. The finance report stands approved. We'll now move to our committee reports. And as Arthur mentioned, the finance committee did not meet. And so at this time, Arthur, do you have anything additional you want to add or?
No, ma'am.
Okay, all righty. Thank you so very much for your work and the committee. Marketing, Rhonda?
Good morning. We did meet this month. We had a very robust meeting. In fact, it was a hybrid meeting. It was partially virtual and part of us were socially distanced inside the museum. So that was, thank you to the staff for making all of those accommodations. And we had a number of items on that list that we are very excited about. There's new money, which is always a good thing. Mm-hmm. It doesn't cost us anything. It's actually some marketing credit. And Karina, are you comfortable with me going through all of the items? I know you've got a number of things to add, but how would you prefer that we do this? And I'm sorry I didn't have that in advance.
That's okay. Go for it. And then I've got a few visuals of some of the things, but it'll just make my part faster.
Okay. And I will give you briefings because I believe I'm not sure that this committee report went out to all of the members.
No, it just goes to the marketing committee.
The marketing committee. Okay. The first thing that I think is really important, state tourism got $15 million from the CARES Act. So they provided an opportunity for all of the DMOs throughout the state to apply to participate. And we were approved at $40,000. So while that's not actual dollars, In other words, that's not money coming to us in a check form. The advertising will be paid for directly by Visit NC's marketing agency. And again, not to downplay the efforts of our staff, but to have the benefit of a professional marketing agency like Visit NC, which is very highly acclaimed, is a super big deal. So
Yes.
I'm very excited that we get the benefit of that to go along with our folks. And we've reviewed the 7 marketing areas that we'll focus on. It has to be spent by the end of the year, which is most important and most exciting because it gives us a real boost at a time when
Absolutely.
I can tell you that we want to end on a good note for the calendar year. And we've got a real opportunity with people coming into the area. In my industry, we are seeing people that are taking a look at Eastern North Carolina in a way they haven't before. The Outer Banks is having a record year. I have a rental property there, and it's been pretty phenomenal. I was down checking on it a week ago, and it looked like high summer. So people are migrating up and taking a look in Elizabeth City, definitely because of going to the Outer Banks. So that's money in our pocket. And again, I'm really excited that we get the benefit of Visit NC's agency. That really gives us a big boost. Then there's an Our State magazine giveaway promotion. And we have a contest landing page on their website, and the theme will be a romantic getaway in Elizabeth City. The folks that are participating to partnerships are Culpeper Inn, Two Souls Wine Bar, Ghost Harbor, Paradiso, and the Mills. So it'll be a two-night stay in Elizabeth City, and it shows off some of our best. So we're excited about that. Those have always generated not only high interest, but lists that we can go back to and have to add to our marketing campaigns in the future.
Oh.
Then there is a U.S. travel initiative for all destinations around the country, and it's called Let's Go There. And the message is to make plans to be ready when you're ready to travel, to go ahead and make your plans. So, and to emphasize that planning is just as much fun as getting there. In many cases, it's better. But we are including that messaging in our social media and so forth. So another new initiative. We're also looking for partnership outreach. While all of our small businesses in the area are working hard to do the right things and to manage all of the COVID protocols, et cetera, we want to make sure that everyone knows that the tourism agency here, our job is to help promote the partners. So as you're traveling around or making any kind of contacts with local folks, please remind them that if they have something going on that we can help promote, we're here to do that. And I think this is an especially important plug for them right now to get in with any kind of, maybe they're not doing a lot of events, but maybe they have a new menu, or maybe there's a new product that's coming along line, or maybe there's actually a couple of new stores that have opened, boutiques that have opened downtown. So we want to make sure to keep everyone this is top of mind, that tourism is here to work for all of us. Then we've got another exciting thing going on. We have one of the photographers with Visit NC coming back to Elizabeth City in early October. Sam Dean will be here, and I know Karina and Bree will be busy with him that day. I think it's the 9th. Is that correct?
6th and 7th.
6 and 7. Okay, close. Close. We were looking at a committee meeting regarding that. So if you have some examples or some images that you think would really portray Elizabeth City, shoot them to the staff. This is an opportunity for us to make sure that all of Elizabeth City is included, and all of the things that we think are important about our town and would be beneficial for people to know about. This is your moment. So if there's something out there that we haven't featured before, I really invite you to let the staff know. That's their job, is to get the photographer around and make sure that he sees all the things that need to be seen. Anything to add to that, Karina? Okay. Finally, Dean, you referenced the crisis plan, and it will be, we will vote on that in just a few moments, but we had a very good meeting about this. And Dean, thank you for your input. I know all of the board was given the opportunity to review this, and it is a crisis communications plan that we have not had to use or haven't had the need for in the past. And now, unfortunately, the time has come for us to have one, and it's part of our accreditation process as well. So we will review that in just a few moments in depth. And finally, we have a new local driven campaign. we worked hard on the Be a Tourist in your hometown, and it just didn't work out as expected. It hit really at the time when people were really staying home. I think that was one of the challenges, was our timing. But we are looking at local focused campaigns. So now we committed to a tagline, and we agreed on our E-City. E-City is a moniker that's used by a lot of our Coast Guard members, and our E-City would mean that we would all come to the table with what our E-City is. In other words, is it your community? Is it your neighborhood? Is it the destinations throughout the area? Is it the waterfront? Is it being on a ball field, watching a Friday night football game? So we're going to be looking at some of those ideas and asking for some of our local influencers to write a blog. So there'll be a new microsite. It costs just a little bit of money to get some of these blog writers to focus on us. So we're investigating the pricing on this. But we also wanted to share that we're looking at the year's budget. There's a fund balance appropriation to balance the budget, and considering that we've received $40,000 from the Visit NC and $20,000 from the CARES Act, we talked about that we think that these funds should be considered and hope we'll have less to take out of the fund balance. So this is a big bite to our budget that we don't have to take on our own, and we'll be revisiting that total budget in a future meeting. But I think it's important. I mean, $60,000 is a lot of money in a budget like ours. Mm-hmm. So the staff's been hard at work, and your efforts are very appreciated to be able to. I know some of these guidelines have been difficult, and the timelines have been difficult as well. So we thank you for that. And it's been a very busy month in the marketing world. If anybody has any questions, I'll be happy to try to answer, or the staff will as well. Questions or comments?
Well, I'll say kudos to the marketing committee members, to the chair and the members, as well as the staff. This is very exciting news, and it's always wonderful to be able to have extra because you can never market enough. Absolutely. And marketing is one of those areas that requires dollars. And anytime when you have an opportunity that's been afforded us with the dollars that's with Visit NC and the CARES, and I mentioned to Karina that I know that we have to spend that money by the end of the year, but I felt certain that she would be able to take care of that with no problem. So kudos. This is a great opportunity that's been afforded to us, and we can see that even during this unprecedented time, this challenging times, that we have an opportunity to do marketing with dollars that we didn't have before. And so thank you so very much. It sounds like the committee, as well as the staff, that you all have been very conscious and been very intentional about how to use those dollars. And so we look forward to all that we will benefit from that. So thank you so very much.
Absolutely. And thanks to all the committee members. It was a great conversation and really good work.
Very good. Okay. And I believe that visitor experience did not meet. Is that correct? That's correct.
We didn't meet.
Okay, very good. All right. So presentation is next, and we have none. So Karina, I believe that you have the screen.
Terrific. Well, thanks everybody, and good morning. Hopefully you can see my screen.
Yes.
Awesome. And I did send this out to everybody, minus one slide that I forgot, but we'll talk about that in a second. So we'll jump right in. There we go. So I wanted to start with, I know I already emailed this information to you, but I think it, especially considering the current situation and the challenges that we've all lived through for the past 6 months that are continuing, it's worth taking a moment to pause and celebrate that 2019 for Elizabeth City and Pasquotank County was a record-breaking year. It was the biggest year we have ever seen as far as tourism expenditures. And what tourism expenditures means is that's money that visitors spent at our local businesses. And that number is just shy of $70 million, which for our little county, that's a big number. And it really speaks to the power of tourism and the economic impact that it can help our community grow, excuse me, and heal from everything that's happening this year. And that was, you can see, almost a 6.4 increase over 2018. We know, unfortunately, that our 2020 numbers are not going to look like this, but it's really exciting to see such a good number and know what we can get back to. And then I'll just really quickly point out a few elements that are key, and that is tourism put more than 520 local people to work. And the last I checked, I believe that makes tourism the 6th largest employer in Pasquotank County, which is impressive. And that's obviously collective because tourism is a collection of lots of small businesses. But we're big. We're big business in this county. And we already talked about the $70 million that our local businesses. The city and the county collected almost $1.6 million in taxes just from visitors. And then every county and city household saved $380 in taxes in 2019 because of visitors. Again, that's huge. And that impacts every single family and household that's in our county. And finally, payroll. I like to show the payroll that goes back to the 520 people that work here. So in 2019 was over $11 million in local payroll, supporting our locals, supporting our businesses, and money that is getting brought here by visitors to help provide jobs. So pretty cool stuff. Was very happy with this, and we're going to have to definitely come back and relook at this a couple times, especially when we get the 2020 numbers. Any questions on that before I jump into the marketing? Okay. And as Rhonda went over this really quickly, the $40,000 marketing credit with Visit NC, we're super excited about the opportunity to do programs that we really would not be able to do on our own. And that includes print and digital in Garden and Gun, a really technological mobile media program where we'll actually be able to track if people who see our ads visit us in the destination. We're able to re-kickstart the Google DMO program that we did last year, which directly benefits our local businesses. So these are, and this is just an example of the native advertising with Visit NC, which drives to the coastal bucket list content piece and our very first digital billboard. We're going to be on 4 billboards in Raleigh. The top picture is a picture of the actual digital billboard, and the bottom is our design and what we'll be showing in the month of October. So we're excited about these. And I hope you guys can't hear that, but somebody's vacuuming right outside my door. So I hope that's not too loud. If it is, let me know. And then Rhonda mentioned coming soon, we are working on a brand new locals focused campaign, Our eCity, and it will drive to a new microsite, ourecity.com. So there'll be more to come on that. Jumping into our fun COVID-19 and the state of the travel industry. This is the most up-to-date national, so U.S. economic travel spending. And it starts in February when this whole mess first started and goes all the way through September 12th. And you can see these 2 little blips. July 4th, there was a nice little blip in travel. And then the most recent one was Labor Day weekend. So there are people who are traveling, but you can still see the numbers are significantly lower than they traditionally are. Jumping ahead to North Carolina, we remain down as a state in the 30-ish% range. And this is the visual of North Carolina, which you can see mirrors very, very closely the entire country. Unfortunately, I wish I could do the same thing for us, but we don't have weekly data, we have monthly data. So we're not going to be able to see, a one weekend blip. But it's interesting to see how closely the state mirrors the country. And then I'll jump in here to our Smith Travel research, our hotel data. And I apologize, I neglected to include this in the presentation I emailed out yesterday, so I'll send this out later today. But for, as Arthur mentioned, for the month of August, our hotels are down about 16%. Again, don't like to be down double digits. Nobody ever does, but it's certainly better than we anticipated heading into this. And then I really wanted to point out where we are in comparison to the state. So the bottom section of numbers is year to date. January through August. You can see that our occupancy, we're down about 23%, our average daily rate down about 8%, and RevPAR about 29%. And then if you look over to the right, the column, the numbers that are circled are the Northeast region. So we're really right on par with the entire Northeast region within the state of North Carolina, which is a good thing. It means we're not unusual and we're hanging in there with everybody else. And just to the left, you can see the entire state of North Carolina is not doing great. So the whole Northeast region is thankfully doing a little bit better, and I think we can definitely count our blessings on that one. Jumping into just looking at how consumers are thinking and feeling in general. Excuse me. The good news is people really are interested in travel. Intent and interest in traveling, both for leisure and business, continue to go up. Specifically, people are already planning and budgeting for 2021 leisure travel, either the same as they've spent in the past or even more because they missed their traveling this year. And I thought this was a fun question. If the pandemic suddenly magically ended tomorrow, what one large discretionary purchase would you make? And a third of consumers immediately said, take a vacation. So the good news is there is absolutely intent and interest in travel, which is healthy for all of us in our economies. It is important to note, however, that our lifestyle priorities and consumers' behaviors are changing significantly, especially through the past 6 months. As an example, the number one thing that is most important to people right now, in general, is staying safe from infection. It's not, relaxing, it's not making money. All of those things would have been higher up on the chart 6 months ago. But today, the number one thing is staying safe. And that's going to lead us to a few other points. And I know I've talked about this in the last few board meetings, and I'll probably continue to talk about it. Educating both our business partners and our visitors what we are doing as a community to embrace pandemic etiquette and safety protocols is huge in inspiring that confidence to help people go to our local businesses. You can see here, when you ask a consumer, how confident are you that you can travel safely today? Only 30% are confident. That's not a great number. So we want to make people feel more confident. And that comes down to really showing them what we're doing to help them travel safely. And again, this is a completely different research study, but it's a very similar number. Only 50% of American travelers feel safe traveling, which of course means that 50% don't. So we really want to talk to those folks who don't feel safe and help them feel safe so they can start traveling and spending money in our community. So that's a quick look at the state of the industry and what is happening with consumer sentiment. I'll pause there for 1 second before I jump into the next section. Okay. Really quickly, the museum and the Welcome Center has been closed for 6 months. We are now reopened. We're in our second week. We opened last week. Modified hours, we're currently open Monday through Friday, 10 to 4. There's a lot of safety protocols in place. Masks are required, people are spread out. There's only one staff at the front desk at a time, stuff like that. But it's great to be able to have the Welcome Center open again. And I'm sure Susan is absolutely thrilled that all of the phone calls are now coming to the office instead of to her cell phone, which she put up with for 6 months, and we very
Yeah.
much appreciate that.
It's much better.
The other thing that we are currently working on, this is brand new, we are partnering with the Small Business Center for a couple of different programs. The first is they have some funding to help with some local business opportunities. And so we are partnering to produce a series of 30-second video vignettes. Each of these will feature a local small business that is embracing Count on Me NC and showing safety to their customers. We're going to create a blog that highlights the videos, push them out on social, YouTube, and email, etc. This is exciting because it really leverages that research that we're seeing that's so important, but also is costing us almost nothing because of our partnership with the SBC and will directly help our local businesses. So we're very pleased to be able to partner on a program like that. And also with the SBC, we have a series of 3 upcoming partner education sessions. These are all virtual, all through the SBC education platform. They are all free. And so I would definitely encourage board members, if you're available, to watch at least some of them. We'll definitely send out all the links so you can register. The first one is on October 6th. It's specifically about Count on Me NC, and the speaker is going to be Lynn Minges. She's the president and CEO of the North Carolina Restaurant and Lodging Association. On November 2nd, we'll have online reputation management, which is hugely critical today because so many more consumers are online all the time. And so how can our local business partners manage their online reputation? And then finally on November 16th, specifically COVID-19 recovery for tourism and hospitality. So we're excited to be able to offer these programs through some of our other partnerships. And again, they're free, they're no cost to us or to anybody who wants to take them. And that is my quick overview of what we've been doing for the month.
Okay, very good. Anyone have any questions?
Yes, Johnny.
Okay.
Karina,
Yes, sir.
because there's no uniformity from state to state, don't you think that affects travels quite a bit? You know, even myself, I don't go out in Elizabeth City much because everybody, they are not doing the same things. And some grocery stores, they have masks on. Some grocery stores, they don't have masks. And if you're in there, they don't have it covering the parts of their face that should be covered. So people should do, if people start doing things on a uniform basis, I think it would help everything.
I couldn't agree with you more. And a lot of the research shows that consumers are confused and they don't understand, you know, what safety protocols might be in place in North Carolina versus Virginia versus somewhere else. But unfortunately, it is at a state by state level, and a lot of it depends on the individual business owner, which is why we've been really pushing the Count on Me NC program, which is sponsored at the state level for all of North Carolina. And the more our businesses, not just tourism, grocery stores is a great example, can follow the Count on Me NC procedures, it gives that confidence for people to go out. But I agree, Johnny. I wish more people would just follow those rules and put that mask on, because it'll just bring us all more business, and we all need that.
Yes.
So I would just like to add real quick, my daughter Shay lives in Washington, D.C., and she arrived yesterday to visit. And while I was at work, she went to the grocery store, and she came home and was just like, what is the deal here? Nobody had a mask on in the grocery store.
Yeah.
And she was shocked, because obviously in Washington, D.C., you wear a mask and you wear it everywhere, and everybody does so. So anyway, just adding that.
Even I saw as one of those places that was advertised in Raleigh, they have a big sign up stating that was shown on the screen here. And I think that's very good, because, you know, if we don't do things in a unified way, there's not going to be any control of that virus. And that's one of the things that we're slacking in, and I think that needs to be talked about even more. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Karina, and for sharing all that's been going on from your office. If there are no other questions or comments, we will move to old business. And so, Karina, back to you.
Thank you. So I am super excited to be able to officially show the finally approved Coast Guard Half Marathon logo. We have been working on this for quite some time, and I know Gwen is well aware it has been a challenging process due to multiple partners and also working with the federal government, which I have to admit I've never done before. And there's just a few hoops to jump through. But we do have an approved logo, which is exciting and will allow us to move forward. And I apologize for the lateness of sending it to you, but we literally just received it at 4:30 yesterday, but the brand and licensing agreement, and I'll talk about that in a second.
So that's the final already approved logo.
Yes, sir.
Okay, never mind. I was going to have a comment or a question or suggestion, but if it's already been approved, then we're going to go with it.
We had a couple different versions of it, and we got a lot of feedback on them. It was actually voted on at the Coast Guard base. I know that they showed it during a bunch of meetings, and then the attorney up in Washington, D.C. requested us make a couple changes. I have to say I've never had an attorney dictate design elements to me before, so this is all new. But yes, I think we should go with this for now.
It would have been nice. I'll just go ahead and tell you so that I know that our contract runs for 5 years or whatever. You know, I think like up in the corner or something of that nature, to have had that official Coast Guard symbol, if you will, like the cross anchors, you know, that each of the military branches has, a little circle. I just think it would have made it appear to be, you know, more of the Coast Guard. Whereas this could be, I mean, we know it is, you know, the only one, it is approved by the Coast Guard, et cetera. You know, this really doesn't say to me that it couldn't be anybody just saying that it's the Coast Guard half marathon in, you know, New England or California or whatever. But
so just they won't let us. One of the elements that they required us to take out was something that made it look even closer to the Coast Guard. It's their racing stripe. We are not allowed, because we're not the federal government, to use anything that is exactly a representative of their stuff. We tried that. Unfortunately.
I thought you might tell me that, but I was just interested. So overall, I think it's great. Thank you.
So, yeah. So now we do need to have a little bit of a discussion about this event. And so there's a few things. And first, I'll remind everybody that it was supposed to have happened 5 days ago, last Saturday. So this meeting should have been a recap of what an amazing, wonderful, incredible event it was. In May, we did a lot of research, met with ECSU and the Coast Guard and the city, and we rescheduled it for March 6th of 2021. However, based on in May, March seemed really far away. Now that it's the end of September, March doesn't seem all that far away. And in talking to, in particular, our partners at the Coast Guard, the chances of us being able to host a traditional road race with 3,000 to 5,000 people in early March, I'm sure most people will agree, are slim to none. The Coast Guard is uncomfortable committing to it. It's a lot of work to produce this event and to have the bandwidth to try to produce it and then have to return money to people if we have to cancel it. There's a whole lot of things. So the very strong recommendation by a lot of people, including the Coast Guard, is that we cannot host the event as planned in March, which leads us to several options. The first is we could do a virtual event, and all of these obviously have pros and cons. The advantage to a virtual event is it's a lot easier to produce. There's a lot less cost, and it will give us incredible national awareness and brand awareness, not just for the race, but of Elizabeth City. And the really good plus with doing a virtual event right now is we are partnering with a national caliber PR firm for the first time ever in Visit Elizabeth City's history. And so that PR firm is already on tap to help us get national caliber coverage. So the virtual event is great. The minus, of course, is it means we won't be hosting an in-person event. But it will build brand awareness, give us a list of runners who are interested so that when we do have it, say in 2022, we're going to have this massive database of people who are already interested. We can also work towards trying a hybrid event. A hybrid event means we still do the virtual, which means anybody can run it anywhere in the country. They still have to pay. But we also host a small in-person race. I imagine we would cap it at, say, 500 runners in person. The pros to that, of course, are we're practicing running the actual course, the on base, the through ECSU, the downtown. It allows us to practice how difficult is it to secure the base, which is the biggest element of the challenge to partnering, running a road race on a military base. The disadvantage is it's pretty much the same amount of work to host a road race for 500 runners as it is for 5,000. So the question is it worth doing that much work for a small group of in-person runners? And I'll caveat this by saying we still need to confirm that the Coast Guard in particular will allow us to do that, and that is still in question. And obviously our third option is we postpone the event to March of 2022. A few other things I didn't put on here. The Coast Guard has requested that we not run the event in the fall because that is hurricane season and they are concerned that they would be otherwise occupied and then we would have to cancel the race. So postponing it to September of 2021 is not an option. So I wanted to open it up for conversation about these three options, see what people think, and then we can talk about the licensing agreement.
Karina, Johnny, yes. I know September and the fall of the year may be hurricane season, but March is a funny month also, isn't it? I mean, if it's a windy situation, would the marathon still continue?
Yes, road races can still continue in almost any weather. They're not the same as a swim, like an open water swim or even a bike race, which there's a lot more challenges. Road races are okay. Okay.
So will this event, will you have awards and trophies and things of that nature? Or what will be the reason? I mean, why will a person participate besides getting a timing? Do you have an award?
Yes, everybody who participates will get a finisher's medal. And I think a lot of people will participate because every branch of the military has a branded road race except the Coast Guard. And there's quite a few runners who do those races just for this. It's called the swag, the medals, the t-shirts, etc. So the fact that this is a Coast Guard branded race will gives us a huge leg up over any general half marathon.
Yes, I was just thinking March is such a tricky month also. Maybe moving it up just a couple of months farther might be a suggestion anyway.
If it helps, we did research every month of the year. We looked at every other road race that's happening around us. We looked at what's happening on the ECSU campus because the race is supposed to go through campus. We looked at what else is happening in Elizabeth City, and we looked at the other military road races. And that's how we landed in March.
Okay.
There were a lot of, everything else was kind of filled up.
Right. Okay. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Karina, as a runner, I would definitely rather run in the snow than run in the heat. So, March, even though it seems weather-wise a little iffy, that's kind of what runners prefer or tend to enjoy a little bit more.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I mean, I'm from New England, and I've done road races in January in Connecticut in snow. So
Yeah.
I am March down here.
Oh, yeah.
I think it's downright balmy.
Also, too, I think the March date adds, because that would be around for ECSU, would be around the time of Founders Day. So for people who come for that, it sort of gives them another activity, if you will. So I think that's a plus for them, something different to do. Karina, I have a question. Please remind me, and I know we've talked about this, remind me of the Coast Guard's thoughts. I mean, I know they didn't want the September, and I get that. But do they have a preference with regard to the virtual or hybrid?
For this year, they have indicated that their preference is virtual.
Okay.
They are still dealing with staffing challenges because of COVID. Again, this is an unusual road race because several miles are on the military base. So therefore, we have to secure the military base with Coast Guard reservists.
Right.
They're not sure. It becomes difficult. They said they are willing to try to work with us. The local Coast Guard folks, I can't speak highly of them enough. They have been fabulous partners, very willing to work with us. But we also have to acknowledge that they're still the federal government, and we still have to, kind of abide by their rules. And
absolutely.
And they have said they'd lean much more strongly towards doing the virtual event in 2021 and then going gangbusters in 2022.
Okay.
I would personally limit the choices to those two, and I would lean to you to determine if jumping through and all the hoops and you understand the mechanics of what it takes to put on a virtual race, if you think it is worth the time and effort for what it takes to put it on to get the notoriety or whatever out there this year versus just waiting and having the full-blown thing year one. And I would leave that to you or anybody else that has a better knowledge of how you run a virtual race to make that decision.
Arthur, for clarification, you're suggesting do a virtual event or postpone it?
Yes, I think that doing the middle of the road thing is a hell of a lot of work.
Maybe the hybrid.
For limited more benefit than just the virtual, and you're just not going to get the impact for the people that do come. I mean, I'd rather wait until we can do it right and really impress everybody and get people excited to come out and volunteer and all that kind of stuff. And on the virtual, I just don't know enough to give my opinion of whether, how you run that, what value is it, who's really going to tune in and who's going to sign up to do it. And so that's why I say I would, just as my voice as one board member, would leave that to your discretion. I think you know more about this than anybody else. and or Dean or anybody that goes and has traveled to run races. But I would not personally vote that we would go that middle route. I just don't see the advantage.
Karina, this is Rhonda. I've been really following a lot of blogs about virtual events because events are really important to what, we do to promote ourselves. They're important to our communities. And I read a great article last week and I intended to bookmark it and did not. So my apologies for that. But it basically was talking about just what we're having the conversation about. Will people participate in virtual races, bikes, running, whatever? And the article was that, yes, people are very comfortable being outdoors. Mm-hmm. It's a very much a safety, if there's a safety question, they feel good about that. But the virtual events give us a lot of pre-promotion.
Yep.
We canceled the New York City Marathon this year, for instance, and they're asking everyone who was going to run that to run it in their own hometown and to participate. And it says it's really re-energized because a lot of people did not want to travel, did not want to go there, but you can still participate and run in wherever you are. So it could be that people run all across the country. They're not in Elizabeth City, but they have that to look forward to, once they've run. And again, the mechanics of it, I'm certainly not the expert, but there was a real high energy about people still continuing to participate because people who are competitive want to compete.
As a matter of fact, I agree, Rhonda. As a matter of fact, I'm participating in a virtual run this Saturday with one of my public service organizations, which is headquartered out of Washington, D.C. And there are a lot of people that are participating virtually. So.
But Gwen, you got to run it, though.
I'm sorry?
You have to run it. You can't just say you did it.
No. I understand that, and I plan to do that. Because we're going to be posting on our page. So
if that's a joke, Gwen.
Gotcha.
But this is Johnny. This is Johnny. but what can happen, you all? It will give us some type of history that this event did occur, and that is very important. Everything in the world is changing now, and it's done virtually. You just got to resist it or go along with it. And I think going along with it is you got to make yourself avail yourself. And all of this is about thoughts. I would hate to think of a marathon and we don't do anything until 2022. I would be sick of that marathon myself, even before it got started. But just doing an event and say it happened, people will look forward to do it the next time around and the next time around. And it becomes history and it becomes successful. But not to do anything until 2022, I think that's too far.
All right. We also have the advantage of the national PR firm to help with this. Is that correct?
That
I
is
think
correct.
that will be a boost in terms of, okay, I'm done.
So if we think I don't know if we need to vote on this. I wasn't sure, but I would, since Arthur suggested that I make a recommendation based on my experience producing events as an athlete and researching virtual events like Rhonda mentioned, I think we should go ahead with the virtual event. I think there's a lot of pros. And we, to Johnny's point, I really hate the thought of waiting until 2022 on something that could be so impactful for this community.
Then I would, it seems like March might be a ways off. If you're going to need an approval, then I would let's go ahead and vote on it today. I'd make a motion to, to go with Karina's recommendation to, unless we run into a roadblock or find out something different, we can always change it later, but to go ahead and move forward with virtual race for March.
Second.
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 Johnny, second.
Thank you. So there's a motion and a second for the moving forward with the virtual Coast Guard half marathon in March of 2021. Any other discussion or concerns? Hearing none, we will do the roll call vote.
Gwen,
Yes.
Arthur made the motion, Johnny made the second. Dean,
Approve.
Rhonda.
Approve.
Hey,
Is
Susan,
Abel, is
Abel's
Abel
here too.
here?
Abel is on. I approve. Good morning.
Thank you, Abel.
Okay.
And then while we're still on the Coast Guard Half Marathon, we also do need the board to officially approve the memorandum of agreement that I emailed out last night. That is the legal document that, I kid you not, has been in the works for 11 and a half months. So I'm beyond thrilled when it showed up yesterday afternoon signed. It's been a challenge in part because of COVID, because every time a change happened, we had to modify the draft of the contract and it had to go back to the attorneys. It is basically an agreement that says the Coast Guard is allowing us to use the name for the Coast Guard Half Marathon event. And so I would, unless anybody has questions, I would ask that the board approve that agreement.
So is there a motion for the approval of the memorandum of understanding with the Coast Guard as it relates to the half marathon?
I make a motion to approve.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Who
Abel.
was Dean made
Yes.
the motion, and who
Yes.
made the second, please?
Abel.
Thank you, Abel.
Okay, we have a motion and a second for the approval of said document. Any further discussions or concerns?
One quick question.
Okay.
I haven't read the new one in detail, but does it allow for the posting of like pictures? Because sometimes the Coast Guard image, even on backgrounds and stuff like that, they're kind of funny about.
We can, I'm not sure exactly what you mean by post pictures, but we can take that logo, we can make t-shirts with the logo, we can post pictures of people running the event virtually or in person. Yes, all of that is, yes.
Sounds great. Thank you.
Great. Any other questions? Hearing none, we will conduct the roll call vote.
Gwen,
Approved.
Arthur,
Approved.
Johnny,
Yes. Yes.
Dean, you made the motion. Rhonda
Approve.
and Abel, you made the second. That's
Okay,
it. Thank you.
it's done. All righty. Thank you. Any other information, Karina? Okay, then we will go on to new business, and we will start with the 401k resolution, which will require our vote. Karina.
Yeah, this one, but just a learning process. We approved as the board in the adoption of our new personnel handbook, and I know the board members who were part of the review of that handbook will recall this discussion. The ability for the TDA to offer a 401k to staff, it costs the board nothing. There is no fee whatsoever. It is merely an option for staff to be able to, as an example, I have money sitting in a 401k still in Virginia because it cannot move into the local government retirement fund. Those are two different funds. So we included that option in the handbook, which the board adopted. And when we went to open the 401k account, we realized that because we are an authority, they require a very specific resolution, hence the one that we shared with you. They wrote the resolution for us and said if you could get the board to adopt that, then we can actually open the 401k. So that's my brief, unless there's any questions.
Any questions, concerns? Hearing none, we will then call for the a motion to approve the 401k resolution that Karina shared with us.
Move to approve.
Thank you. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second. Able.
I'm sorry, who was that?
I think it was Arthur.
Take your pick. Dean, Abel, me, any of the three.
I'm going to go with Arthur.
Yeah. Okay, we have a motion and a second for the approval of the 401k resolution. Any other questions, concerns? Hearing none, we will conduct the roll call vote.
Quinn.
Approved.
Arthur made the second. Johnny?
Yes.
Dean?
Approved.
Rhonda made the motion, and Abel.
Approved.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. We can now move forward on that. And now we'll go to the crisis plan that you shared with us, Karina.
Yes, thank you. And again, Rhonda mentioned this in her marketing committee report. As part of accreditation, it is a requirement that we have a crisis communications plan. I shared this with Gwen as well. It's ironic, it was one of the easiest accreditation documents we've had to write because we have lived crisis communications for the last 6 months. So we were able to actually easily document some of the processes that we have been doing. So we wrote the plan, a draft of it, we shared it with the marketing committee. The marketing committee did review it, had a few suggestions for us. We modified, made those edits, and have shared it with the board. So I would say, unless maybe Rhonda, if you want to add anything, but that's a quick highlight of the plan.
No, Dean, did you have any comments?
Just a couple very small ones. Page 4, where it says coordinate with third-party industry partners. It says Pasquotank County Emergency Management. I think their official title is Pasquotank, Camden, Elizabeth City Emergency Management. Again, that's just, it depends on how detailed you want to get there.
That's good.
Because they are a joint emergency management, and that's their official title, I do believe. One thing on page 5, it talks about the chief spokesperson. Most of the time they do call him a public information officer. So I didn't know if you wanted to use a similar term and call whoever is speaking on behalf of VEC to be called the public information officer, or just leave it as spokesperson. That's certainly your choice. That's also use the term spokesperson a few other times. So if you change it, you know, you can certainly change it throughout. One thing on page 7. So when I think is important for us, and I think it's there. But again, what are we messaging during the crisis? You know, we're certainly not giving out how-tos, shelters in place. You know, there's other people who do that. So right. I think we have to be clear on what we're actually, what our key messages are, and what are we actually putting out during a crisis. So it covers it, but I didn't know if we needed to explain that a little bit more, or if the accreditation people were looking for that a little bit more. But I think that is, you know, really an important key to it, that our message is certainly going to be different during the crisis than that of emergency management and possibly the city, the county, and other agencies. So with that, it does say on that page 7, step 3, that first paragraph, it says the crisis management team, which consists of the ED and marketing communication specialist. I didn't know if we also wanted to include the chairperson in that crisis team, because technically the chairperson is the one who also signs a lot of our official documents. It might be an idea to add a third third person in there, and I think the chairperson might be a good person to do that. I think the only other comment I kind of had was page 8. It talks about social media, and one thing I've seen before, and it's been part of in another board. And again, it's probably more in a social media plan than it is this plan. But it talks about during time of crisis, only one person should be posting, which is great. And it says the executive director must approve, which is great. But sometimes when you have several people who have access to your social media pages, it's a good idea to have a kind of a fail safe in there, and it might be addressed in another plan, but just in case, because this has happened, someone has posted something, gone away from their computer, and it kind of, someone needs to take it off immediately, and there's no one to do that because the person who posted it might be the only one who has access, and then there's just no one to take it down. So we have written fail safes, like one, maybe a board member who has access to some of these social media accounts, just as a fail safe, doesn't post, doesn't do anything, but a third party who is there who can remove something if it is just a miscommunication that needs to be removed and quickly. So just something to think about. Right. But otherwise, that's all I have. Oh, last page. On page 4, we talk about weather-related emergencies, and we kind of list, for example, hurricanes, tornadoes, flooding, but we really only cover hurricane and tropical storm. So I didn't know if we needed to cover tornado, flooding in that section, because we kind of make mention of it. But otherwise, that's all I have. I think it's a good plan. And I'm sorry for bringing these things to you so late.
That's okay.
So a couple small things on the public information officer versus spokesperson. I think in quite a few of our other documents, we reference spokesperson, like in our bylaws and stuff like that. So I think we're better off, and there's only 3.5 of us from a staff perspective.
Yep.
So I think that's okay. Other than that, I mean, I'd have to, I guess I'm not sure what the next steps would be at this point. Oh, social media, we do have fail safes, just as an FYI. There's 3 of us on the team plus an outside agency. Because I completely agree with you, no one person should ever hold the only set of keys to anything that we are doing.
Okay. So Dean, thank you so much for the mention about the, was that on page 7 about adding the chair? Yes.
We can do that.
And then, okay, you covered the social media piece. And then I think the weather-related emergencies.
Again, that's small stuff.
Yeah,
that can be
but it's worth noting.
It or something. Yeah.
And I think the other one was the key messages. That was pretty.
I think it's covered. It was just, I think we should really be clear on what our key messages are.
Right.
I think what's there is certainly good, and maybe it could just be revisited on a revision in the future or something. And the only other thing I had was the Pasquotank Camden EC emergency management.
That definitely needs to.
Yeah.
Yep, that's an easy fix.
Which is in a couple places, but.
So we can just do replace all. Okay. Okay, so I guess my question then to the board would be, are you ready to act on this? Would you like to see the document with the noted mentions before we act on it? What is your pleasure?
I think the document is good, and we should make a motion to approve it with the maybe 2 changes, the Pasquotank emergency management, and maybe adding the chairperson I'd be comfortable making a motion to approve with those 2 changes. And then anything else you'd like to add to that.
All
This
right,
is
so we have a-
Arthur. I'll second that.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second to approve the crisis communications plans with the noted revisions. Any further discussion or questions? Hearing none, we will conduct the roll call vote for that document.
Gwen,
Approved.
Arthur seconded, Johnny,
Well, I really haven't reviewed it like I should, and I will review it. So this time I'm gonna pass on this vote.
okay. Dean made the motion. Rhonda
Approve.
and Abel, are you still here?
I'm still here. Approved.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Thank you, and we'll get a copy of the updated version at a later time. Thank you so very much for the work on that plan and getting us closer to accreditation. All righty. That seems to conclude all of our business as such for today. Does anyone else have any information, any other business, any other information, any other announcements that they wish to share? Let me know. I don't know if Debbie or Holly or Chris or Michelle or
Debbie's not here, but she did ask me to give one brief update on her behalf. Just to remind the board that ECDI is still selling tickets for their Downtown Digs fundraiser, and they're really, really looking to sell at least 200 more tickets. So if anybody hasn't purchased a ticket, to please do so, and or to look for it on social media and help spread the news to help give them that last minute boost so that they can raise enough money to keep functioning as an organization. And then the winner, I think you guys may have seen this already, either wins a year-long free apartment in the Weatherly Lofts, or if you don't need that, $15,000 in cash. So even if you don't need a place to stay, you can still buy a ticket.
Okay, great.
Remind me of the deadline for that, so I can tell people.
Shoot. I'll look it up. She texted me or emailed me. She emailed me. I'll shoot it out to the board with the information.
Good.
So you guys will have it all in writing and you can pass it on as needed. But I want to say it's October 6th, but I'm not positive.
Okay. Thank you. The others are not on, is that correct, Karina, or?
Christian is showing is on.
Okay, Christian, are you there? Any information you'd like to share? Maybe not.
He's still showing is muted.
I was gonna say he's probably, okay.
And it looks like Holly must have dropped off. I don't see Holly on here anymore.
Okay,
No.
Going once, going twice, going 3 times for Christian. Okay. Anyone else, any other board members have any information you'd like to share? Okay, well, hearing none, let me say thank you again to the board members for all of your expertise and committee participation and working towards the betterment of Elizabeth City, Pasquotank County, and beyond. A special thanks to Karina, Susan, and Bree, and the staff for continuing to work through the pandemic, and I know that you are happy to at least be able to be back in your place 50% of the time, and it's greatly appreciated. And so with that, we will call for a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn, Johnny.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay.
Was that Rhonda?
Yes.
Yes. A motion and a second to adjourn the September 24th, 2020 meeting. Roll call vote, please.
Gwen,
Yes.
Arthur,
Yes.
Johnny made motion, Dean,
Yes.
Rhonda made second. Abel.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you all. We are adjourned. Enjoy
Be
the
blessed.
rest of your day.
Thank you.
See you in October.